Maybe these days looking back, every part two sides to the story, flip side of the coin. Game, CD, player, disc, record player, vinyl, VCR, radio, Walkman, cassette tape, that the B-sides have been the old talks in the new wave, like flipping a switch on a dime in the game of heads and tails. With all these reminders, for everyone else, for the sake of hope, I've been going at it with myself, like I'm giving myself ransom notes. Like I'm in Wanda's shoes suppressing the troubles of coping, only to admit that I'm not sure about the extent of my power though. Held hostage by me, that when I'm out of focus from being the living proof of lessons learned, but it's just my cataract vision being distorted by my broken good intentions. The text in my words of translation is me being on autopilot like I'm resisting truth to control the lie. Creating the pocket world that I see in disbelief to star myself and cast others into my fantasy life. Like I'm trying to play God, when this power given to me was provided by Him. So what's supposed to elevate me, all I'm really doing is denouncing Him. The weight of my failures without supporting my own faith to be answered, collapsing under pressure. The ask is heavy to carry if I can't follow through. The journey from the Man on the Moon trilogy to the long-awaited streaming series. From the self-sabotage to my enlightened awakening. So here's the thing. I've hinted at the major reason why I was so distant and isolated. I gave plenty of examples, but this one puts it above the rest. The way it culminates these years in progress is because through poetry, music, and comics, the way those interests of mine and more that I could talk about with anybody else. Between that, I'm tweaking my convos with the fam, thinking that they haven't really understood the way my brain operates. They only scratching the surface when it comes to my habits and mistakes, that I was always catering to their suspicions. It has become the routine now that the more they know me, the less they know about everything. I don't always share as often, so I react defensively and even silently till I vent a lone voice in my thoughts. I'll just feed them apps instead of full course meals of content. Cause for me, I don't like to spoil it for them. I don't feel worthy of speaking these words when I'll just keep making it worse for us. For me, the damage was done. Excuse the potential mispronunciation. La vida. Two voices to reassure the plea of fleeing love and the intoxicating euphoria of disappointment, struggling to navigate the way back to what it once was, but the sober kind. Or maybe it's not in the cards anymore, which pops the question, can you let it go? It's like that was directed at me when I listened to it. I know the meaning behind it, but I had a different interpretation related to this situation, so I just keep it to myself to receive all these reminders, though it feels like I'm tortured. Like I'm alone again. The weekend breezing by in these after hours that I've been blinded by the lights in my darkest moments, saving my tears for another day sounds heartless of me. Trying so hard to escape from the escapism of leaving my adaptation within the snow child fallout, being high off my lows till my lows touches my own sanity, till I bleed out the clutter of my psyche, wanting to take care of, do right, and kill everything, just to be on hiatus for everybody to miss me. Making headlines when my return has been the motto that Lord knows my movements, looking like a star. But only on camera, only on camera, only on camera. So in the cut, I low-key been letting the good ones go for the sake of the crew love, loyalty to business and pleasure. Then afterwards, I'm sleeping alone with my Marvin's Room interlude, attitude towards the haters over my dead body mood, while I'm on the ride to survive the masses embracing me or bearing me alive. Easy to say that OVO and that EXO is everything I believe in, but nah. I'm going Saba hoping that someone would care for me. Yet I'm put off by the beggars that can't be choosers to determine my life moving forward for Mr. or Mrs. whoever. And when I'm looking at dead-end hip-hop, Blackie Speeds, Fantano, and then some for the rap and alternative music varieties, from E-Man to Charlie and in between for the film and TV categories, from Philip to Franco to TD hip-hop media to bring the news cycles into concentration camps, no, I ain't talking about glorified swastikas. I'm talking about how I sensationalize my curiosity trifecta. At first, then I made up my mind with what works. But I gotta spare my time to think for myself and not consuming too much of the perks. Does it have to be my last resort? That depends on the balance that I'm searching for. Nah, I don't actually mean popping the pills. I'm talking about with all that's available to me, I need to ease up on one to make up for the other. Gotta get back in tune with what's important, and that way I'll be caught up. And when I'm addressing the elephant in the room, this is coming from me, not what everybody assumes. Trust me, I can't express this enough. Though I have been at this point. So the extended clips to reel back the fishing lines in the pond to draw in the traffic with the bait. Red light, green light, 1, 2, 3 stages to go through performances, conveying the task force with the heat, firing off to gain relief, briefly emptying cases of baggage to release, the dirty laundry being washed but left hanging just to dry completely, the soaked exposure compared to the dry cleaning, the laundromat of hidden secrets would make someone even more guilty. The entity that inhabits a host's body becomes its temporary property, a vessel to wreak havoc, catching bodies in its wake. Upon casualties, it follows anyone to hop from one to the other inside the lust transfer, passing around desires. If I ain't careful, I'll be a victim of my success, a victim to my isolation, a victim to my responses and reactions on how I'm dealing with them. This being a part of my therapy sessions, I can't dismiss them. I could easily mystery ink pen in the bedrock of my feet, screaming Scooby-Dooby yabba dabba doo to make my peace. That scheme may be weak, it can be corny, but I'm growing up. Still reaching the kid within me. I've been through hell and back, psychologically draining, physically gaining from the past to take my future steps in the presentation of recovery. The errors of my ways inside the art that perfection's the worst way to start. That if I'm wearing the mask to transform into the Looney Tune Martian in the same room that got me in my feelings, ready to go manhunter without the league. But I'm one of God's children, an extraordinary gifted gentleman with ordinary human qualities. That even when I lose, I've been winning, holding my own in the fight to see the best that the world had to offer, and not short of the supporters, to boost up the promise of premises that reaches out to better understanding meta amusement. The disclaimer to check those fields at the door. Sensitive topics, while it can still set someone off, no doubt. The reason remains that whether or not you agree with what's being said, it's okay. If we can laugh at ourselves, we can grow from that as well. I ain't ignoring, I'm just acknowledging.